And you gotta be special when you know.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do my day-to-day makeup routine. I'm going to start by applying Trader Joe's sunscreen. It's clear so it doesn't leave a white cast on my skin. I'm also going in with Bobbi Brown's Vitamin Enriched Face Base. This gives an added layer of moisture so my makeup doesn't crease throughout the day. It's basically a combination of primer and moisturizer.
Can we slip up and mix up sometimes? You say it don't mean it, just want it when it's convenient. Am I crazy for waiting on my side?
When applying my base, I make sure not to miss my neck and forehead. Now I'm going in with Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This primer lives up to its name because my makeup adheres to my face like never before. It has a gel-like consistency, but it's still lightweight. The foundation brush I'm using today is by Sephora, the Pro Foundation Brush number 70. And the foundation I'm going to use is by Makeup by Mario in the shade 21W. This has been my favorite foundation for a while. It blends pretty easily and has a skin-like finish. When applying my foundation, I always go in patting motions. I don't drag the brush across my face to prevent a streaky appearance. I also try not to forget my ears and neck if they are going to show. The blending process is tedious, but well worth it for a natural finish. And please excuse the faces that I'm going to make in this video. If I scare you for a second, I apologize. Here I'm going in with Got to Be Glue for edges and brows, and this just allows your brows to stay in place throughout the day. I'm going in with Hourglass Concealer in the shade Maple. I apply concealer to the points of my face that I want to be more noticeable. I'm going to leave that concealer as is for a while and allow it to set into my skin. And then I'm going to go ahead and start applying my contour. For contour, I'm going to be using She Glam in the shade Earthy Sepia. To blend my concealer, I'm using Real Techniques 402 setting brush. It is small and tapered, which allows more precision. Your blend is probably not as seamless as you would like it to be because you are heavy-handed like I am. I had to train myself to use light tapping motions when blending my concealer. And if you feel like you have too much product on your brush, you probably do, go ahead and wipe some of that off with a napkin and continue blending. To blend my contour, I'm going in with a Real Techniques 200 Expert Face Brush. And again, just using tapping motions so that I don't move the product. I'm going to mix my concealer and foundation. And with this, I'm going to make an angled line from the top of my sideburns to the middle of my cheek, parallel to my contour, to create more dimension. To create this line, I'm going to be using Sephora's Pro Concealer Brush number 45. Of course, everyone doesn't have a symmetrical face, so just try to make them as even as possible. I'm going in with a liquid blush for this look. I'm using Rare Beauty's shade Love.
Just 'cause I want you don't mean I want you, I don't. You got some high hopes.
To blend out my nose contour, I'm going in with the foundation brush that I used earlier, again using tapping motions so that I don't move my product. I'm going to grab my Real Techniques setting facial brush, again just to blend the lines I created parallel to my contour. After I blend it a bit, I'm going back in with my foundation brush to diffuse any harsh lines. Picking back up my Expert Face brush, I'm going to blend out my liquid blush. I keep multiples of the same brush because I use the same brush for multiple techniques. I like to put the remaining products from my blush on my nose for a sun-kissed look. Before setting my under eye, I'm going to add another layer of concealer. While I let that sit, I'm going to focus on shaping my brows. This time when I blend my under eye, I'm going to use a damp beauty blender to pick up any excess product. You can also use this beauty blender to blend out any of the concealer you use to shape your brows. Now I'm going in with Real Techniques 300 brush to add pressed powder to my brows and my under eyes. I don't know why I decided to show you guys my liner and lipstick now, but I'm going in with the MAC's Chestnut liner and their lipstick in the shade Kinda Sexy. I will come back to my lips because I need to go ahead and set before I start to crease. So first, I'm going in with Laura Mercier's translucent powder, and then I'm going to go in with their Honey loose powder. After adding powder to my puff, I leave any excess powder on the back of my hand before applying it to my face. I place the powder on top of my highlighted areas only because I want to leave my contoured areas as warm as possible.
Maybe I'll love myself, I don't know. Leave me here, I'll fuck myself. See me in the mirror, I duck myself. Don't need much, so fuck my will. Rolling stone. Drop the roof and let the smoke clear. I got diamonds, do it just
I'm also not going to brush any powder away. Instead, I'm going to use the clean portion of my puff to press any leftover powder in. I learned this tip from Kim Kardashian's makeup artist, Mario. Now I'm going in with Laura Mercier's loose powder in the shade Honey to add color back to my face. Because powder can be so drying, I'm just going to go back in with a damp beauty blender to add moisture back to my face. Make sure that your beauty blender isn't too wet, because if it is, it's just going to remove the product from your face. The way that I make sure my beauty blender isn't too wet is I just spray it with rose water instead of placing it under a faucet. After applying my powders, I set my face with a setting spray. This is an oldie but goodie from Urban Decay. And to be honest, I don't know if that's ash or powder on my elbows, so yeah. But now I'm going in with Anastasia's Brow Wiz in the shade Chocolate to fill my brows. To fill my brows, I just create hair-like strokes in the direction of my natural brow. I've never gotten anything done to my brows. They are completely natural. The girls that grew up with unibrows know. I do, however, just make sure that they're threaded so it is pretty easy to shape them.
Let's make it happen, girl. I need some time. Speaking of time, who stopped it? That's the feeling that I get when we lock lips. I got the weed at the crib and the liquor too. I fuck your soul, I release in your spiritual. I be your muse, bring your easel and pencils too. Here you go, you try and tease with them pictures. You could ride on me just like you ride the elliptical. She said I'm trying to keep it tight for my nigga. Girl, I like your last nigga. All I need is mental. You know I'll work you out, get you right with your physical. Oh wait, that's another interlude. Asking all the questions, girl, you know I don't do interviews. It's pitiful that when I'm with them other bitches, I pretend it's you. Oh.
To set my liquid contour, I'm going in with Juvia's Place Duo Bronzer in the shade Tan. I start with the lightest shade to diffuse any harsh lines, and then I finish by concentrating the darker shade within the areas I apply the lighter color to create more depth. For this, I'm just using a contour brush. Any kind will do.
I know you feel me, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, whoa. Girl, I know you feel me, yeah, yeah, yeah. So much to live for, too, baby. Whoa. Let's not rush into it now. Let's not rush into it. When we get to it, we can give it all that we got. Too lit for this shit right now. Too busy for this shit right now. Don't wanna talk about this shit right now.
I placed the darkest shade along my chin line for a more chiseled appearance. And because this is my everyday makeup routine, I don't do much to my eyes. I just go ahead and add a bit of bronzer. Here, I'm just going in circular motions to build until I'm satisfied. And I'm just doing this with a fluffy blending brush. I've had this brush so long that the name isn't even visible anymore. With a smaller crease brush, I'm going to focus the darker bronzer within the lighter bronzer. With the Real Techniques 332 smudge brush, I'm going to line my bottom lash line and create my nose contour. Apply your nose contour to your liking. This is just the placement that works for me. If you have trouble with your nose contour, you can place dotted lines and connect them, making the process a bit easier.
Truck to the hotel lobby. Me, I go through underground garages. Presidential suite on deposit. Elevator up to the room. Shower up and then we hit the club. Touchdown, gotta see what's up. Area code in my phone. What numbers do I still have? Who do I know from the past? Hit one, she say she got a man. Hit another one, it goes green. Must have changed foes on the team. Remember when you let me in between? That was 2017. All good, chuck a look around. Find one to see my type. Damn, my dog and he know what I like. He done found me plenty in my life. Problem is I meet a girl tonight.
I'm adding MAC eyeshadow in the color Embark to my lower lash line. This is a step that I feel can make or break your look. It is often forgotten.
Saturday through Sunday, Monday through Sunday, yo. Baby, I'll love you one day. Maybe we'll someday grow. Till then, I'll sit my drunk ass on that runway on this one way.
To set my liquid blush, I'm going to choose a powder blush that is very similar in color. And today that will be Dolce Vita by NARS. The brush doesn't have to be specific for this, but the placement does matter. Focusing on the apples of my cheeks.
Jury in the safe on arrival. Pistol on J for survival. A lot of people gunning for the title. A lot of people trying to take us viral. I'm just trying to have a nice night. The waiter brought a check for the meal. She said, babe, I think there was a typo.
To highlight, I have a palette by Anastasia, and I'm going to be using the shade Bronze.
Let me get your images that last. Amex had a limit in the past. I had plenty women in the past. I done plenty sinning in the past. You don't need to know, but you can ask.
To apply highlighter to my nose, I use the smallest brush or just my pinky finger.
Go wherever with that ass. Show to the shower, to the truck to the club for the party. You go in first with your girls, cause I don't know who's out there watching. But I do know one thing, yo. Women, they come, they go. Saturday through Sunday, Monday, Sunday, yo.
And I'm old school, so yes, I'm pulling out my fan brush to add highlight to the high points of my cheeks. I'm finishing my eyes with Benefit Cosmetics, their Real Mascara. The spoolie has spikes on the tip for easy application on bottom lashes. I mean, just look at the difference after I apply mascara to my bottom lashes. Ugh. I moisturized my lips after my skincare routine, so now I'm just wiping that off to go ahead and apply my liner and lipstick. And if you didn't catch it earlier, I'm just using MAC's Chestnut liner and Kinda Sexy lipstick. You can literally already tell the difference in the shape of my lips after applying my liner alone. I always apply my lipstick with a brush or my finger so that I don't smudge or move my liner. I also go back in with my liner just so that it isn't drowned out by the application of my lipstick.
Working on the weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Niggas swear they passed us, they doing too much. Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up. Virgil got a paddock on my wrist going nuts.
For gloss, I'm going in with Fenty Beauty's Gloss Bomb in the shade Hot Chocolate. This stuff is always sold out, but I found it in Texas. I was so happy. I finished by setting my face with the OG Urban Decay that I sprayed earlier. All of the products I used are linked in the description box below in the order they appeared on the screen.
sipping, once upon